Hi, this is Michael Bryan. I'm Senior Editor of Multi-Channel Merchant, and today we're talking with Patrick Allard, who's the Vice President of Sales and Business Development for Newgistics. Hi, Patrick. How are you doing today?
I'm doing terrific. Good afternoon, Michael.
Great. Okay, thanks for joining us today. So we wanted to go over a couple of things today, one of which is to talk about the holiday returns for 2015. Now, obviously, there was a lot of increase in e-commerce. There's a lot of things happening that affected returns maybe more than normal. So talk about what you had seen as a company in dealing with and helping your clients on the return side, on the reverse logistics, compared to maybe the prior year or even like years before that in terms of volume and activity and that kind of thing.
Sure, happy to. So Newgistics actually services over 450 brands today, and all across the multi-channel retail and e-commerce space. And pretty much a consistent theme that we saw in 2015 was a couple of different things going into holiday. One is a real high percentage of retailers adopting a more liberal returns policy with the consumer, really to help drive sales, so to remove all the obstacles and just make sure that the customer felt 100% comfortable making that purchase. The other big change we saw several retailers offering you free returns, either earlier in the year or directly related to the holiday sales promotional, going to free returns. And those two things, having a more liberal policy, making it easier, and then offering free, really drove returns volume really into 2016 as returns peak is January and February.
So would it be fair to say that free returns is obviously a growing trend? So even between the 2014 season, 2015 season, and into 2016, that you'd seen like an appreciable difference in companies offering that, as you say, as an incentive to drive conversions?
Significant. So if I were to take a look at volume increases, it's been between 18 and 35% increase year over year for returns across our customer base in pure volume. Now that's also their outbound volume is growing as well. So it's not just returns rates going up. It's driving sales. It's clearly having a lift on sales for these retailers that are making these changes to the returns policy.
Right, and also we had been reading quite a bit just in general about the increase in e-commerce sales in holiday 2015 versus the prior year. Obviously it's still somewhere in like the 10-12% of overall sales, but growing fairly substantially. So I'm sure that's something that has been a driver as well for the type of volume that you'd seen in this year's returns.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then on a separate note, Patrick's going to be involved in our Operations Summit 2016, which is going to be held on April 12th through the 14th at the Duke Energy Center in Cincinnati, and he's going to be involved in a panel discussion on how creating a great returns experience can help you in terms of profitability for your company. So Patrick, take a minute to talk about what those benefits are for direct-to-consumer merchants, and also how those expectations are changing as we see a lot of growth in omni-channel retail.
Sure, absolutely. No, we're really looking forward to that panel. I'm going to have a really nice complement of retailers accompanying me on the panel that are going to give their perspective on how returns is really helping them win the battle and grow their business, but also drive cost out at the same time. The perspective that we're going to look at is really, it's the age of the customer and finding opportunities to remove the barriers that were generally around the returns experience. So we're going to look at it from a customer experience perspective, and then show that by having best-in-class customer experience on a return solution is not only going to put the retailer in a position to grow their revenue, but significantly drive cost out. So we're going to look at really from the device to the doorstep and all the way back in the way that you should message the returns, what is best practice, and then ultimately what are the varying points that you can do to leverage cost aversion in the business to handle returns. Again, it's the age of the customer, and we're seeing across the omni-channel sector, companies really tackle that over the last 18 months, and most retailers that are successful in winning the game in omnichannel and trying to keep up with the large competition out there like Amazon, they understand the value in promoting the best customer experience possible, and returns is a major part of that.
Right, and talking about trying to make it as comfortable for the customer as possible, we hear a lot about the whole concept of making it frictionless. Maybe you can speak to that for a minute, and just taking out whatever barriers there could be to make it as easy as possible for the customer, and then improve the experience and improve, loyalty and ultimately profitability.
Absolutely. So if we look at the best-in-class returns experience, it really starts with messaging. So whether the customer is on the website or on a mobile device, it's having a very consistent and clear, concise message on how to handle the return. For companies out there that are strict e-commerce and don't have the brick and mortar, it's really important for them to have an online return solution that doesn't have the customer having to go try to dig through multiple pages or even pick up the phone and make a call in, but be able to have a web service online experience that gives that customer not only the information they're looking for, but an easy way to make the return. So what we certainly recommend is not only have it clear and concise, but have the opportunity to service that customer self-help wise immediately, get them a label, offer a free carrier pickup to get that asset going back to the retailer, so that customer can, let's face it, get their credit back faster. And through that journey, from when they get the returns label all the way till it reaches that retailer, we certainly recommend communication. So you have an opportunity to touch the customer, message to the customer, set the right expectation, and really give them that warm, fuzzy blanket that they know that retailer knows the return's coming and sets the right expectation to the consumer on when they're going to get their credit back. And by the way, as I mentioned, grow your business. So not only is it going to be simple and convenient, and they're going to feel really good about the experience, but the retailer, the brand, has that touch point during the logistics process to offer a promotional item, to talk about what a recommendation engine. There's all sorts of awesome things you can do during that process to promote your brand.
Terrific. Patrick, thanks very much. So if you want to hear more on this subject of returns, which is so crucial today in e-commerce, along with lots of other great information about direct-to-consumer e-commerce and operations and fulfillment, come out to the Operations Summit, which again is April 12th through the 14th at the Duke Energy Center in Cincinnati, and we'll have a great lineup of speakers like Patrick and a lot of great retailers and thought leaders presenting on a range of topics. And if you want to find out more and to learn about it and to register for the event, you can visit www.operationssummit.com. So Patrick, again, thanks very much for your time today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Hope to see you guys there.